I'll be able to. Can someone share the verse?
You want to share the screen, Prabhuji? I will.
Someone can share it.
Okay, I will share on the group chat. Yeah. You are the host, Prabhuji, and I also share on the group chat. So please.
73.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I shared on the group chat and then.
Oh, group chat. I was thinking of sharing in this one.
You are the host, co-host, Prabhuji.
Okay. I remember doing that. 1 second. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
The LED lights.
Yeah. The verse is on the screen. Arjuna Uvacha Nashto Moha Smriti Labda Tavat Prasade Namaya Chuta Sitosi Me Gata Sandeha Karishche Vachanam Tava. How do we do? We recite like 3 times, or devotees recite now? 3 to 4 devotees can recite. That will be good.
Yeah, they can recite. Anybody want to recite? Please go ahead.
Arjun Maharaj Uvacha Nasto Moha Smritirlabdva Tatprasadanmayachita Stitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishe Vachanam Tava. Hare Krishna.
Arjuna Uvacha Nashto Moha Smritirabdhat Prasadanmayachyuta Stitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nashto moha smritirlabdha. Arjuna Vacha. Nashto moha smritirlabdha tvat prasadanya yachuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Hare Krishna.
One more devotee.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Both of you can recite now.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna.
Yes, Mata, continue.
Arjuna Uvdacha. Nasto moha smritstir labda. Tvat prasadam maya yuta. Sthitosmi gata sandeha. Karishe vachanam tava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna Vacha Nashto Moha Smritirlabdha Tvat Prasadam Mayachyutam Stitosmin Gata Sandeha Karishe Vachanam Tava. Hare Krishna.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada
Hare
ki.
Krishna. Prabhuji, can I recite?
Oh yeah, you want to recite? Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
good.
नष्टो मोह स्मृतिर्लब्धा तत्त्वा प्रसादान्मायच्युत इष्टो स्निग्धता सन्देहा करिष्य वचनं ततो तव. हरे कृष्ण.
Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Nashta, dispelled, Moha, illusion, Smriti, memory, Labdha, regained, Tat Prasada, by your mercy, Maya, by me, Achyuta, O infallible Krishna, Sthita, situated, Asmi, I am, Gata, removed, Sandeha, all doubt, Karishche, I shall execute, Vachanam, order, Tava, yours. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubts, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Purport. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of the living entity is that of an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Forgetting this principle, the living entity becomes conditioned by the material nature. But in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes the liberated servant of the God. The living entity's constitutional position is to be the servitor. He has to serve either the illusionary Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusionary external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by the lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over, and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desire. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya to trap the living entities, is the proportion that he is God. The living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? That he doesn't consider. So that is the last layer of illusion. Actually, to become free from the illusionary energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his orders. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding that every living being is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks that he is not a servant, that he is the master of this material world. For he wants to lord it over the material nature. That is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When the illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of the matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the Master who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone and he is specially inclined to his devotees. He is the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time, and he is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotees. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he understood Krishna factually. So to study Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually. When a person is full in knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of the population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bows, to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshunu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamishcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamischa Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Hare Krishna. First of all, let me offer my obeisances to all the devotees who have assembled here on this Zoom call, and seek all of your blessings to speak something on this verse as a service to all of you, and to glorify the Supreme Lord, and to repeat whatever I've heard from my spiritual master and my previous from previous acharyas, and especially from my mentors and teachers, so that my heart gets purified and I'll be able to serve all of you properly. So I pray that the right words come at the right time and may that be infused with proper service attitude. Hare Krishna. So in this verse, it's very beautifully describing what is the what actually uh, Arjuna is ready after hearing the Bhagavad Gita. Just the last verse, if you see what Krishna is telling, Krishna is just telling, that is the last verse, 72 verse, what Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita. He's telling that, "O conqueror of wealth, O Arjuna, I am ready to again, if you have heard everything attentively, and if your religion is completed, then that's very good. If not, I am ready to speak Bhagavad Gita again and explain to you everything, whatever is required." So this is very wonderful to understand how Krishna is like so merciful, in spite of repeating all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, like in one way, and he's just waiting for Arjuna to still continue, still present his doubts, that if he's ready to if he's not understanding this thing, we are ready to I'm ready to speak everything again for you. So this is something which is very, very beautiful about Krishna's nature. Yeah, it's not just the nature of Krishna, but nature of a pure devotee or a teacher. He always wants to help his disciple, that whatever has been the subject matter should be understood very thoroughly. And Krishna is also doing the same thing as a spiritual master of Arjuna. He's just making sure that Arjuna understands the subject matter very, very clearly. And today, now Arjuna is very confident enough after hearing from Krishna. Now he's telling that Whatever you tell Krishna, whatever you tell, I'm ready to, you know, he's ready to speak. He's karishche vachanam tava, he's ready to act now on Krishna's instructions. So, in one way, now Arjuna is ready for, he's mentally now totally convinced that what Krishna is telling, if I'm ready to follow that thing, is so beneficial for me. So, this is very wonderful about Krishna's nature and Arjuna's understanding, So, this is something which is very, very wonderful. So what is he telling in this sloka? Arjuna is telling Nashta moha smriti labda. Nashta moha, dispelled. His moha, is illusion, has been dispelled. What was his illusion? Can someone tell what was his illusion at the starting of Bhagavad Gita? I'll just join. I'll just close the door 1 second. What was the illusion of Krishna, Arjuna, at the starting of the chapter?
Whether he was confused whether to fight or not.
Okay, whether to fight or not. And what were the reasons what he was giving that he should not fight?
He gave
Anyone remembers?
5 reasons
Yeah.
of not fighting.
Hmm.
Reasons are
Anyone?
like we'll lose the elders in the society,
Hmm.
and no one will no elders in the society, so that there won't be people who can guide the society. By this way, society will get what's called ruined, and then Varna Sankarana will come.
Okay.
Like that. He give many reasons, like
Yes,
five
yes.
reasons
It's
in the
five
title.
reasons actually. One of the reasons is what you have told. He had a lot of compassion for the relatives,
Yeah.
and he was exhibiting that he cannot kill his spiritual master, he cannot kill his relatives, and
Mm.
he sees that just for the sake of enjoyment, why should I kill all of them? So this
Mm.
was illusion. This was his great doubt. And then third reason was of sinful activities. After killing everyone, will I not
Mm.
incur the sin? It's like something which we can understand. If someone is told to kill an animal, so it's like a very beautiful example comes. If I was just hearing a lecture and the speaker was telling very beautifully. He was telling, if I just describe you like this, oh, there two persons entered the room, and they came with sharp weapons like scissors and knife, and then they came towards the person, and then they cut open his stomach, and then they were ripping off his intestines from inside. If I tell you this thing, you may be thinking that it's a very ghastly activity, what is happening here. But
Mm.
just see, this is what actually, if I tell you now that this activity is taking place in a hospital where the two doctors enter the operation theater. And what are they doing? They're entering the operation theater, and they brought their knives and everything, scissors, and they ripped off the body of the patient who is suffering very, very terribly. And they are trying to do an operation to remove the intestines, which is causing one of the great problems. So, like they're trying to cure the intestine. So if we see the description that, they might be thinking, other people might be thinking they're doing sinful activities. But is it a sinful activity? No, it's not a sinful activity. So that was one of the fears of Arjuna, that if I fight,
Mm.
then I will incur a lot of sin. And the fourth reason is that will be the harmful destruction, as Swarna Hariprabhu was telling, that will be like causing, Varna Sankara. And then fifth reason, Arjuna tells that, it's a harmful way of destroying actually. It's like just after destroying everything, what is the point of enjoying also? Whom will I show this enjoyment? So all these doubts, whatever were there in Arjuna's heart, they all got cleared off after hearing Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. And he's coming to the conclusion that that now if I act on Krishna's instruction, this doubt will be it will be so beneficial for me. So this is something which is very beautiful to understand, that Krishna is ready to tell, ready to speak, and Arjuna is ready to hear and act whatever Krishna is telling. So what was this illusion? If we see a conditioned soul's illusion, as Prabhupada is writing in the purport very beautifully, that a conditioned soul's greatest illusion is that he considered himself to be the master. That is what Arjuna was also thinking, that, I am the master actually, and I should act according to my will. That is my will. So with my will, I need to act. But here, Krishna is telling that if you want to act according to your will, you consider yourself to be a master. And just by considering yourself to be a master, it's very, very difficult actually. The moment we consider oneself to be a master, we become such a great illusion. We are acting under the illusionary energy. And because we are acting under the illusionary energy, it's very difficult to overcome this tendency of serving. But we have the tendency of enjoying, or we have the tendency of controlling, or we have the tendency of proprietorship. So these are like few things which Maya actually always covers the living entity. And then the living entity is pure by nature, but he becomes conditioned by material energy. And one of the conditionings the material energy enforces on the living entity is that he makes him falsely have that conception that he is the enjoyer, he is the proprietor, and he is the controller of everything. And Krishna tells that completely opposite. In the fifth chapter, the last verse, he tells that Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suruda Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Rakshati. So he's telling the peace formula by understanding. If anyone can understand how one can be very peaceful, is by accepting that Krishna is the supreme controller, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and Krishna is the supreme proprietor. But then the illusionary energy makes the living entity forget this thing, forget his relationship with Krishna, and makes him forget that, he's supposed to be the servant, but then he is falsely understanding that he is he's the master actually. And just because of this illusion, so many living entities, they are like suffering in this material world. This material world is made, in one way for all the living entities to revive their Krishna consciousness, revive their relationship with the Lord, and go back to Him. But then here, I was just reading yesterday this third chapter, verse number 10, I think. One second. Yeah, 10. In that chapter, Prabhupada writes, Sahayagya Praja Shashva. In that verse, Prabhupada writes very beautiful purport. The material creation, I'll just read few lines from the purport. It's very beautiful. The material creation by the Lord, the material creation by the Lord of the creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned soul to come back home, back to Godhead. All the living entities within the material creations are conditioned by material nature because of their forgetfulness of the relationship to Vishnu or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles helps us to understand the eternal relationship as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedesya sarver ahameva vedya. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. The Vedic hymns also say the same thing. So here in this few lines also we can understand what is the purpose of this material world. The material world is a place where it is created for one not to enjoy, but for one to revive his relationship with Krishna. And that is the greatest illusion what Arjuna is speaking here. That, in one way, Arjuna is speaking for on behalf of all of us, and he's telling that, this is one of the greatest illusion for me, which I need to overcome. For every living entity, what is the greatest illusion? That, he should overcome this illusion of proprietor enjoying ship. This this three tendencies. The enjoying mentality, proprietorship mentality, and controlling mentality. So these three things have to be overcome by the living entity. And how does that come? That comes only by the mercy of Krishna. That is the second line. Tavat prasadam maya achyuta. He's telling only by the mercy of Achyuta, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it's possible that, one can overcome this, uh, illusion actually. So this illusion can be overcome. If we read, we are reading this 18th chapter, and we can understand when Krishna is speaking few verses back, actually, it might be around 52, 52, 56, and 58. In these verses, Krishna is speaking about the word prasada. And in that he's telling very clearly that by the mercy of me, or by mercy of me, it's like again and again he's repeating this word, and telling that without the mercy of Krishna, it's not possible to to overcome this tendency, or to overcome this Maya. So it's very important that without the mercy of Krishna, or without the mercy of a pure devotee, that's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. He's telling that, he's telling, which line it is in the purport? By the mercy of he is bound. This is where voluntary. Krishna consciousness is acting according to the Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the master who is full of knowledge and proprietor of everything. Okay, where is it? Where is the line got? Pure devotee. Right. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord, or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When the illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. So this illusion can be overcome only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Without the mercy of the Supreme Lord, it's not possible that one can overcome this illusion. It's very, very difficult actually for one to overcome the illusion. So when I was reading this purpose, this verse, I was I was just thinking of few things which are very, very interesting. How Krishna's expands Arjuna's understanding of his choices. One is Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna faced a very critical dilemma, as we were discussing a little earlier, and that he should work or he should renounce. And Krishna is explaining that neither to work, neither to renounce, but to work properly. Working selflessly, is it proper? No, it's not proper. If one acts according to his desire, if one acts according to his desire, when one works with one self-centered desire, then it's very, very difficult. And we see Duryodhan just was self-centered personality, and he wanted to work he just wanted to work very hard to get the kingdom back. Actually, he was all self-centered personality. So he was working, he was trying to work for himself, but it was not possible. So, in third chapter, 16th verse also Krishna tells, if one works, just selfishly, then, he becomes karmically very entangled actually. And then, Arjuna was also telling the same thing, that if I kill everyone, then this reactions will definitely come. And then is it possible that now if you are working, is it possible that I can renounce artificially without the sense of, working? No, it's not possible also. So when one is unable to succeed in the world, one just thinks, okay, he's frustrated in this world, and then he wants to renounce. बोलते ना, sometimes we tell, अरे बस हो गया, अभी इतना जॉब करके थक गया हूँ मैं, या इतना पढ़ाई करके थक गया. Students sometimes they feel बस हो गया, I just want to give up my studies, without completely understanding. So their renunciation is because of frustration. Or sometimes, the work becomes so frustrating that we tell, why are we working actually? So that renunciation is all artificial renunciation. So Krishna is addressing all these things here, that one cannot practice this artificial renunciation also. So one has to be very careful that he should not renounce artificially. But he's telling that one should renounce naturally. When one learns that to see everything, that the world is equally, being neither attached, neither averse to it. Krishna tells very clearly that one should single-mindedly seek spiritual growth. In that state of consciousness, if one renounces, then it's proper. Arjuna was also equating that, whether to renounce or to not renounce. But now he's coming to the natural renunciation. Now he's ready to accept. He's renouncing what? He's renouncing his will, which was there, that he will not fight. But now he's accepting, and now he's working selflessly. Earlier, his desire was selfish. He was just considering this vow, if I win the kingdom, it will be for my enjoyment. But now it's working selflessly. After understanding the Bhagavad Gita, he came to a point of understanding that how I can work selflessly. That is the mode actually what every devotee should aspire to develop, that whatever service is doing, he has to do it selflessly. It's not that, why I should just do it selfishly. Okay, there is something for me, let me just do it. It's not like that always. So when we learn this this mood, when we develop this mood of acting selflessly, then it's like very wonderful mood. And that is what Krishna is telling Arjuna here. And Arjuna is, coming to the same conclusion that, okay, let me give up my renunciation. Artificially he was trying to give up renunciation before, and he was ready to not to fight. He was not ready to fight in the initial state of Bhagavad Gita. But now here he's renouncing again. But he's renouncing what? He's renouncing his desire, which was one of the greatest, uh, obstacle in one way, which was obstructing him to not fight initially. But now he's renouncing that desire, and then he's working, or he's rendering this service selflessly in the mood of servant, and ready to accept Krishna's words and the words of his devotee. So this is something which is very important. Now we are telling here in this verse, Nashta Moha Vipralabdha, Nashta Moha. This illusion has to be gone actually. So Nashta Moha Smriti Labdha, this illusion has to be gone, that I need to renounce anything. One time Srila Prabhupada was asked that, a disciple asked Srila Prabhupada that, Srila Prabhupada, I want to renounce everything. Srila Prabhupada was laughing, and he was telling, what do you have actually? What do you possess that you want to renounce? You don't have anything. Krishna is the proprietor. So in that way, if we see, so renunciation also has to be proper in one way. So, and then one has to act selflessly. So that is something which is very, very interesting here to accept, that the highest state of harmonizing with the Lord is that one should consider him to be the supreme well-wisher of us, and we should consider that, that he is the supreme benefactor. And if we just understand his mood, then it's very easy actually, that, he's our well-wisher, and let me just render some nice service to him. Just let me render very nice service to him. Like, if we see this mood of acting selflessly, I just remember how Srila Prabhupada, wanted to selflessly come here and render a lot of service for so many conditioned souls. When I was reading Lilamrit recently with few boys here, we were reading this section where, Srila Prabhupada had come to Bauri, not come to Bauri before. He just came to United States, and then he took his travels from Boston to this Pennsylvania, and he came to Gopal Agarwal's home. During his stay in Gopal Agarwal's place, how much was his sacrifice we can understand. Initially, when he entered the home and everything like that, he could not understand, he could not understand the people around easily, but then, he could understand that he had the right message to give. And it was very difficult for the people to understand his accent also. It was strong Bengali accent actually, and it was taking some time for the people to understand. And how much, one of the boys was sharing how much Srila Prabhupada was tolerating the situation, and how much sacrifices he was doing. He was telling, when he opened the fridge in Gopal Agarwal's home, what was there? The meat was there, and everything was there. And Srila Prabhupada had kept his potatoes, boiled potatoes, there in the same fridge. So he had to tolerate such a pure devotee coming to such a level where he is ready to tolerate this situation also, where he's ready to give up. See, initially he was in Vrindavan, where he was in a very beautiful mood, just reading the books of previous acharyas, commentaries of previous acharyas, and absorbed in, writing the books. But he had a very strong desire. So there he was not ready to accept even a small change what was happening. He was not ready to accept a small changes were happening in the devotees, like, devotees there in Gaudiya during that time were very, very high level devotees. Like, in one way their standard of practice was very high. They would have not touched meat, or they would have not touched anything like that. But here we see how what is happening here. Prabhupada is actually keeping his food just in the same fridge where the meat is there. So how much sacrifice he was doing, how much his mood was there to accept this thing. In fact, if you see, living with the hippies in the Bowery, what was the condition? The boy with whom he was living, he was drunk in one way. He was taking drugs, and still Prabhupada was tolerating to live with him. Just imagine a pure devotee living with a drunkard person. We even today cannot live with a drunkard person. And here Prabhupada is exhibiting that even that person, just giving him a chance to improve actually. just giving him a chance that how he can take and accept this Krishna consciousness. So this working selflessly has to develop actually. So if we can able to develop this uh, you know selfless attitude of serving, then it's very very pleasing to Krishna. It's very very pleasing. So that is what is very important for us in one way, to develop this servitor mode actually. Then only what will happen is, then we can, you know then we will be stated properly. Stito sime gata sandeha. All our doubts will be cleared. And when one second. Someone had entered the room and opened the door, so Kirtan's voice was coming. Sorry. So, Stito Sime Gata Sandeha. All our doubts will be removed only when we follow the instructions of a pure devotee, or the instructions of the Supreme Lord through His words coming in the Gita. So it's very important, like the words which are spoken by the pure devotee, or the instructions given by the pure devotee, carry such weight in our lives that just by following those words, what happens is our illusion, which is haunting us like anything, doubts and illusions are like demons, which just destroys the faith of the devotees actually. Sometimes when we have doubt in the philosophy, sometimes have when we give our camps to students, sometimes they have doubt. Bole, Prabhuji, you are telling very beautiful pastimes, but how can we believe, or how can we put faith in Krishna, that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, who is at the age of 7, he is lifting over the Nil. कोई 7 साल का बच्चा पर्वत उठा सकता है क्या? How can I put faith in Krishna? That's very difficult. Or you also tell that 2 months, or not 2 months, 2 weeks old child is giving 12 miles greatest demon like Putna. The Putna was, when she fell down, it was 12 miles high. Mole Prabhuji, this is like too much, Prabhuji. Sometimes they tell. And dancing on the hood of a snake. How can we believe also? Hood of a snake is like, it's like, very slippery. One cannot put his feet also. And here Krishna is dancing and kicking one hood of one, whichever hood is coming up, he's kicking and dancing on that hood. So these are like some doubts when we speak to the students actually. They come up with these doubts. Bole, Prabhuji, how can we put faith on Krishna in this way? Understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Oh, then this another big illusion is that, everything is, he's showing his Virat Roop. That is again a big illusion in one way. It's like a big doubt in their hearts. So I think you have mute. Okay. Sorry. So, it's like these doubts linger in the heart of, neophyte devotees, or in the heart of, people. So, unless and until we keep hearing about the Krishna's pastimes, we keep hearing this Krishna's stories from pure devotees, from proper perspective, proper understanding, then only these doubts will be clarified actually. And this, our faith increases and we accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So, only by hearing, doubts can be killed. you know Presenting our illusions or presenting our doubts to the proper personality, and making sure that he removes all the doubts by proper inquiry. So what is required is that we always are in the mood of tadvidi pranipratena pariprashnena sevaya. We are in the mood of inquiring all our doubts, putting our doubts very clearly in a humble state, and then asking that asking the spiritual master to remove all these doubts very easily. Only when we hear from a spiritual master, or when we hear from a pure devotees, all our doubts will be removed, and this moha, will be destroyed. So this is what is important, that Arjuna's moha was dispelled only when he heard Krishna very properly. So for devotees it's very important. Shravanam is one of the uh, main method of worshipping, or main method of what do you call, main process of understanding or reviving our Krishna consciousness. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. One of the main thing Prabhupada have emphasized is Shravanam. That's why hearing is so important. Without hearing, all our doubts will keep lingering in our heart like anything. There are so many doubts which are there, so many things which we don't put faith in, and those things can be overcome only when we hear from pure devotees. That's why Srila Prabhupada has made such wonderful movement of ISKCON. Uh, one of the seven reasons of creating ISKCON, Prabhupada writes that hearing, that an opportunity should be given to a conditioned soul, that he gets an opportunity to hear about Krishna. So hearing is such an important thing actually. And just by hearing, what happens is all our illusions, all our doubts can be dispelled like anything. So it's very important. So it's very important that we hear every day. Srila Prabhupada has given this process of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam hearing in the morning and Bhagavad Gita hearing in the evening. So when we hear in the morning and when we hear in the evening, what happens is it becomes very easy for us to connect to Krishna, connect to the understanding of Krishna, connect to the world around and see the world according to the Shastra Chakshu. So it's very, very important that we have to hear every day. Actually, that should be the process of nourishing ourselves. Like when we water the tree, for growing of the tree, the water is very important. For growing of Bhakti Lata Beach, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells this verse actually in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Shravanam Kirtanam is the jal, which by which if we start putting the water on the Bhakti Lata Beach, then eventually the Bhakti Lata Beach will sprout, and it will start growing. So this Shravanam and Kirtanam is very, very important. Hearing and chanting. But here, for it's very important that we do this thing every day without missing a single day. Shravanam and Kirtanam should be like our daily bread and butter. It should be like our complete meal of what we take. Rice, dal, sabji, chapati for our no, our lunch we take. That is like for nourishing of the body. But for nourishing of the soul, what is important is Shravanam, hearing from pure devotee every day. It's not a single day should go without which we don't hear the glories of Krishna, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, understanding his position, understanding his pastimes. There's so much it can be heard. And nowadays it's very easily accessible. You can hear it very easily actually from many devotees. So it's very important that we take to this process of hearing very nicely. And then what will happen? All our all our illusions will be vanquished. Then we will be stated, all our sandeha, all our doubts will be removed. And then we will be sito sime gata sandeha. Then we will be stated in a proper state. And then we can add, then the last line, karishche vachanam tava. Then we can act and we can become a very nice instrument in the hands of Krishna and our spiritual master. So, if you understand this verse very clearly, all our illusion can be removed only by receiving the mercy of the Supreme Lord or the mercy of the spiritual master or pure devotee. And that illusion can be removed, or that moha can be removed only when we hear from Krishna or hear from the representatives of Krishna, pure devotees. And then we can act karishche vachanam tava. Then we are ready to execute the orders of the spiritual master or execute the orders of Krishna and become an instrument in the hands of Krishna. Actually, Krishna wants to do so much with us. He wants to bring so many conditioned souls with us. But sometimes it's because of our what do you call, our holding of things here, or developing the desires to be in this world, or developing different desires to enjoy separately from Krishna, that Krishna cannot act according to what he wants to act through us. So it's like he has an instrument, but the instrument has his own way of dealing with the situation. So it becomes very, very difficult for that person to act, for person to use that instrument. Same way, if we understand, we want to act with act in the hands of Krishna or act in the hands of spiritual master, then we should be ready to accept whatever has been told by them, accept all the instructions given by him, and then we are ready to. Then what happens is we become like a very beautiful instrument, and wherever they want, whatever they want, sometimes they want us to accept, do something very wonderful, we become an object of that thing, and we're ready to do that thing. We are ready to execute that service. Sometimes the services might be big, sometimes the services might be small, sometimes it might be just very little thing what is required to be done. So we become whatever has to be done, we become like that. And then sometimes spiritual master wants us to become like a preacher, we become like a preacher. We come and give some classes. Sometimes they ask us to go and clean the pots in the kitchen. We are ready to go and clean the pots in the kitchen. Sometimes whatever is required. If you become a malleable devotee in the hands of the devotees, in the hands of pure devotees, then it's very, very easy. Whatever services are coming, it becomes an opportunity for us to advance. It becomes an opportunity for us to come closer to Krishna and to purify our hearts and to come close, to purify our heart and to give up our illusions actually. So this is very important that, if we want to become a very beautiful object in the hands of a pure devotee, we just should be ready to accept, we should be ready to accept his instructions, and we should be ready to, follow whatever has been told by them. And it's very easy. What happens, our faith is initially, our faith is very, very simple when we come to Krishna consciousness. But as we live in, as we become devotees, the thing what happens is we start committing little by little offenses here and there. To some devotees, to some, while doing deity worship, or seva aparad is there, dham aparad is there. We start offending the devotees, start offending the holy name, we start offending prasad or something like that. And eventually when this comes, then the process becomes very, very tough for us. Then even the chanting becomes sometimes tougher. बोलते प्रभु जी अभी तक कहीं की चार माला, it's very difficult. Like, only why till night 8 o'clock I just chanted 4 rounds, because we lose that priority, we lose that taste actually. So it's very important that we are always protected. We always protect our consciousness. We always are aware that we are not committing any offense, and we protect ourselves. And then eventually what happens is, if we just try to become very humble in the hands of a pure devotee by following his instructions, then it becomes very easy for us to advance in the path of bhakti. It's very easy actually. But only thing, we should be aware of what we are doing, how we are doing, and just develop the right attitude of serving everyone, serving the Supreme Lord in whatever situation we are in. Okay, I think I should stop here, yeah. It's 8:12 now, and we can have some question answers and discussion for next 5 to 8 minutes. Yeah, and then this is the last thing Prabhupada writes. He again took up, this is the last line. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. So we should give up our desire and should be ready to accept Krishna's desire. He again took up the weapon, his bow and arrow, and was ready to fight under the order of the Supreme Lord. So just by accepting the instructions of the spiritual master very seriously, and what does the spiritual master want? If we just understand the mode of any spiritual master or Srila Prabhupada, it's very, very easy. They want us to become Krishna conscious by chanting the name of the holy name, by chanting 16 rounds every day, following the 4 regulative principles, read Srimad Bhagvatam, Bhagavad Gita every day, hear a couple of lectures or hear 1 or 2 lectures, and render service whatever is possible from us. This, if we are ready to do every day, little, it's like very simple thing. We just need to give at least 3 to 4 hours for our spiritual life. That is for our nourishment, for our soul, and that is what all our spiritual masters want. Just render these things and try to love Krishna in whatever best way you can. And if we are ready to do, and there is nothing like special thing what we are supposed to do, we are just readily, we just want to do the same things again and again, repeatedly, just trying to do the same process of Krishna consciousness, just chanting the name of the Lord with great attention and with great love towards the Supreme Lord. Hear Srimad Bhagavatam attentively, hear his classes, read the books of Prabhupada, understand it more clearly, and then do some very nice service in whatever way one can do. So this is what is very important, and this is what all Prabhupada wants, and his pure representatives wants us to do, and then to preach according to our capacity to whomsoever we come in contact. If we are ready to give whatever we are getting, then it is the perfect thing what can be done. So if we keep doing like this, then it's very easy to become purified. It's very easy to go back to Godhead, and then we become a very nice instrument in the hand of Guru and Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any comments of
Prabhuji, my Danat Pranam to you.
Dandavat Pranam?
Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you for the very, very inspiring class. So you mentioned about that Shravanam and Kirtanam, right?
Yes,
Shravanam meaning is only hearing.
yes.
But when it comes to Kirtanam, is it also doing Kirtan and reading?
See, Shravanam and Kirtanam, I can tell you Shravanam is hearing the glories of the Lord, Katha. Shravanam is hearing the Kirtans of the Lord.
Yeah.
And Kirtan means chanting the names of the Lord, either doing japa or by chanting the name of the Lord by doing Sankirtan. That is also Kirtan in one way. Both are Kirtan.
I
So,
yeah, I'd also heard that when we give when you're hearing classes or when we're reading, that is also Kirtanam.
yeah, that is also Kirtanam because you are reading the glories of. That can be Shravanam as well as Kirtanam. Shravanam means it's trying to hear the word of Srila Prabhupada, what he has written, or
Hmm.
whatever is there. Or it can be Kirtanam also. If you are singing and speaking to others also by reading, then that's Kirtanam. So it can be Shravanam and Kirtanam also. It's not like big thing to be there. But doing these things is very important. Every day reading Srila Prabhupada books is very important for us. At least 20 minutes, 30 minutes reading Srila Prabhupada books. It's like, it's like making the sword of our intelligence very sharp. So it's very important actually. If we just, Prabhupada tells, many times he has told that a Krishna conscious devotee or a devotee should at least read 2 hours every day. At least 2 hours is like very much, chanting 16 rounds and then reading 2 hours of Bhagavad Gita. Then he tells that the intelligence becomes so sharp that Maya will not even touch you. If we can do it every day 2 hours, it's like very wonderful thing.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Like when you mentioned 4 hours, it became a little hard for me to digest, but then I
No,
said,
4 hours in the sense 2 hours for japa I was telling, and then 2 hours for kirtan. So 2 hours for reading, and then we have Mangal Aarti and
yeah.
everything. It's like complete process is there. In fact, we want to be Krishna conscious 24 hours daily. So this 4 hours is nothing in one way. That is what Krishna wants. That every time we should be able to remember Krishna. 24 hours we should be engaged in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So, Prabhuji, one more thing is there, like, this kind of consciousness is only possible either you're alone or you're with if you're all by yourself, because we're hearing classes, or you're with devotees. So it is not that easy to have that consciousness because you might be doing something and the other person will, somewhere or the other interfere or try to give his association. And I remember when Prabhuji was mentioning about in this call that what is like taking association is like following something, right? uh,
Mm.
if suppose somebody is drinking tea, we sit with them and have tea, so then we are like taking the association. Like a mundane example, right?
Mm.
And when like we tell them, well, come over, we'll make some nice cake prasadam, and we give them, then it's like we're giving association through prasadam.
Mm.
So that's one thing there. But still it is a big struggle, like and I always remember one statement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that wherever whatever condition you are in, you should this thing. And especially for people who are grasta, they should not leave the grasta house and think that they will take sannyas or go somewhere in the forest or do something. I think a lot of leelas are there in the Charitamrita, which
Mm.
says that there are a lot of people who wanted to join him, and he says, no, no, you go back to your family. When the time will come, then it'll be arranged. So yeah, I mean, hearing this is nice, but still it becomes a very big struggle. Alone and devotees is okay, but when we are around people, and especially when you're all alone as a practitioner, uh, you know and that's why I also think that like most of the temples, there are more brahmachari than the brahmacharini. And because it's very easy, like men generally, ladies are generally given protection, and they won't be allowed to go out after sunset, and all those rules are there. And with the men it is like, for example, in the mundane terms, girls cannot make boyfriends, but the boys can have as many girlfriends. It's just a material thing. Ladka hai, it's okay, he can do anything, right? So that's why even in ISKCON, I've seen there are more brahmachari. I hardly hear of any brahmacharini. Like, I mean, there are a few Matajis who are maybe, like I know in Gainesville Krishna House, there are a lot of Matajis. who have joined the Krishna House ashram because they are their parents are eating meat, and the environment at home is very, very difficult for them to pursue. So they have asked them to come and they stay there,
Yeah.
and that is in the youth young Americans or other classes. In that also you won't find Indians. I'm not just like separating out, like I'm not I don't want to be the bodily concept of separating Indian American, but mostly like I've been very closely monitoring, like there are mostly you'll never find any Indian as such, living in a brahmacharani situation where just like men in America. So but anyway, the point is
Yeah, the
that
point what you're making is very clear, Mataji. It's very difficult
yeah.
to
So see
practice
there.
alone. But the thing is, Prabhupada
Yeah.
always tells it's not like, it depends on one's own determination and one's own desire actually, that
Hmm.
how he wants to maintain his consciousness. If he's living alone or if he's living in a situation where the people around are not helping him around to maintain the pure consciousness, what he can do is he can change the circumstances a little bit. If not, mold himself in such a way that he's ready to practice this process very easily. See, when you are living alone, it's like, if you chant your rounds every day 16 rounds before going to work, or if before entering into your family duties, if you are ready to chant your rounds, getting up early in the morning and chanting your rounds, and then reading something, in the afternoon or something like that, you are reading or hearing something very strongly, and then an opportunity comes, wherever the opportunity comes, you can go and render some nice service. So these things, if you are ready to grab, and then if you do like this, then it's very easy. It all depends on your desire, how you want to make others also Krishna conscious. Krishna gives that intelligence around us. If you're in the family, you can make everyone very favorable just by doing calling everyone together, making them eat nice Krishna prasad, and then speaking about Krishna, sometimes speaking that, oh, I read this thing, very beautiful passage, I want to discuss this thing, let us discuss this thing. Rather than we discuss mostly about all our worldly activities, and that becomes mostly a discussion in the house rather than discussing about Krishna. So it should be, one should strive more hardly. They should strive more harder to make the environment very Krishna conscious. Like every time you're hearing Prabhupada Kirtan, or you're hearing some nice kirtans while cooking, or while nice lectures while cooking. If your friends have come, let us just hear a lecture while cooking, or hear a very nice katha kirtan during cooking, or whatever activities or you're doing. Then if you do that thing, then people around also will start appreciating that, oh, you're trying to maintain that consciousness. So it's not just like prabhus or brahmacharis can have this consciousness. I can tell you, brahmacharis living in ashram can have lower consciousness than grahasthas living in the house can have. It can be that possibility also can be there. I've seen sometimes in some temples, ब्रह्मचारीज दे हैव लाइक दैट कॉन्शियसनेस कि चलो जस्ट मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम करेंगे, थोड़ा सेवा करेंगे, एंड देन आई हैव माय ओन थिंग्स टू डू. But rather than having, they don't have the proper consciousness. But then we see some brahmacharis, they are like, oh my god, we want to go and associate, because they have that consciousness. Every time they are in touch with Supreme Lord, they are touch with the spiritual sound vibration, either by chanting, by reading, by kirtan, by reciting shlokas. No one will stop you. No one will stop you from doing these things. It's only that we should be ready to do these things, and we should try to infuse others who are there around us to do the same activities, to do the same things. We can just inspire them. We cannot force them to do this thing, we cannot disturb them, but at the same time we can infuse them, by doing this thing. And this can happen only when we have proper attitude, proper service attitude towards serving them. Rather than if we try to show that okay, I am a very strong devotee, then it will not happen. But we want to be a humble devotee in a proper state, we want to do this stuff, then it becomes very, very easy. So it's a challenge, I understand. It's not easy. It requires great amount of determination, great amount of mercy of devotees, mercy of spiritual master. But it's like challenge actually. And this is what challenge Krishna is putting forward for everyone. So every sadhaka has challenges. He has to go through different challenges. And so for us to make our place a very Krishna conscious place is a great challenge actually, because the material energy is very strong. It's not easy actually. It's bombarding with so many of advertisements through phone, through cell phones. There are so many things we can do to get distracted from Krishna. So that will always be there. But how much are we protecting? It's our morning thing. Gaurang Pro was telling recently that morning 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is my time for my spiritual life. After that 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I can do whatever service is required for the complete world outside. So 9, if you sleep on time in the evening and then get up early in the morning, chant your rounds, read Bhagavatam or read Bhagavad Gita every day, hear a talk before you entering into doing your worldly duties, then that's protecting of your consciousness. And that is what is required. Even though you are grahastha or even if you are a brahmachari, this is what is required. Prabhupada has always told. It's about devotee actually. We want to become a devotee and we want to practice this thing. Not like which ashram we are in. We are any ashram you are in, the practice is same. Brahmacharis also do the same thing. They get an more opportunity to render service in the temple. But then grahasthas also do the same. They also have the same sadhaka, same sadhana. They also are supposed to chant, they are supposed to read, they are supposed to hear Krishna Katha, and they are supposed to take Krishna Prasad and do some nice service, whatever way they can do. At the same time, maintain their family life. So this is what is required actually. And it all depends on one's desire and one's determination. How much pure you want to become, it's in your hands. It's in your desires actually. If you desire very strongly, no one can stop you actually. No one can stop you to become a pure in your heart. Even Krishna will start, helping you out how to, remove all the obstacles and how to become purified actually. So it's all about developing the right desire actually. If you have the right desire, okay, one day at least I'll definitely chant my 16 notes before entering, doing my duties. Then definitely a point will come where you can.
5K race here in the mall. It's like super crowded.
Let's go early. I think we should leave by 9:30.
Uh,
9:20, 9:30.
I think Geeta Mataji, your phone is not on mute. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mataji.
It's okay. So Prabhuji, yeah, thank you so much. Just uh, thank you so much for the answer. Very nice. But just I'm generally saying that yes, your answer was very encouraging, and one has to be determined, like the first line you mentioned, and then continue with whatever we can do. And of course, when we are not reading, yesterday class we were hearing when Prabhuji said that you're not giving priority. Simple. In life, you have to give priority. If you're not giving priority to your reading, then you will not read Prabhupada's books.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
It's all about giving priority. It's all about giving, it's all about your desire and determination and priority. What priority you give, you develop your things around like that.
Yeah, and then it doesn't matter whether you're in a devotee, non-devotee situation, only devotee or brahmacharini situation, or whatever it is, it might be.
Yes.
And but I was generally mentioning because coming from an Indian body and a female, no, so it is like generally we cannot be bold like the Americans, and they just go and stay in the ashram and do their things.
No,
But
it's like,
for
yeah, it's because one way, if we see Matajis are generally, Prabhupada has always told that Mataji should be given protection every time. Either they are given protection by father, or by husband, or by the son. So we understand that principle very, very easily. And here, somehow the nature of the American body devotees or American Western people, they have little independence. They want to act very independently. So it's little challenging for them also initially because our process is of being surrendered to personality, surrendered to the authorities. So for them, the other challenge comes is always it comes of surrendering to authorities. But they can be independent, they can practice independently, they can accept independently Krishna consciousness, and they can live also, they can learn these principles very easily also. But for women is always they should be under someone. So if they are able to live under someone, that's very, very good. If not, they should get married, be under the protection of the husband, and try to be more Krishna conscious. In fact, Matajis can make a complete home into a Krishna conscious thing. They can make the families, Krishna conscious. I know so many of the Matajis in Pune. They became devotee, their husbands became devotee, their in-laws
No,
became
it's not taking up again.
they
Scan. Please follow the instructions on the pin.
their in-laws became devotees. So many things, like they made the neighbors devotee. So Matajis can be like a very good preachers, in very great preachers actually. It all depends on your desire actually. It all
Yes.
depends on your strong will and strong determination, what you want to give. And as you were telling, the priority, what you want to give.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one more thing, when we say now that the ladies, Matajis should be given protection. So, I wanted to get a little clarification on this, like protection. Why? Because a girl can get pregnant, or are they physically weak? What is the reason why? Because nowadays, in so many Western and Indian community, you see these Matajis, who are very, very qualified, and their children have grown up, and now they divorce their husband and they're living independently. There are so many Indian body Matajis who must be in their 40, 50. They are earning and they're living by themselves. Now, where does the question of protection come for them? I mean, they think in material world, they think once you're financially independent and you're older than 50 or whatever, I mean, there's no chance of getting pregnancy also, because you reach that stage where sometime when I mean, you know menopause or whatever comes there for the ladies, and then they are so when you talk about protection, what is the definition from Shastras, why
see,
Prabhupada
I
stressed
can
on
tell you,
that?
I can tell you practically how protection is very important for women at all time. A woman cannot travel. Prabhupada also tells in few lectures. When it comes for protection of a woman, he tells that woman cannot travel independently in the world. A man or a boy can take his bag and travel all over the world and still come back to home safely. But
Mm,
can a woman do that? No. Woman will be exploited actually. If she's alone, she'll be exploited by the men
mm,
around. The moment people come to know that the woman is alone, people want to exploit actually. That's why it's very important that woman is protected. Now you are giving an example that a Mataji is 50 years and divorced
yeah,
and being alone. It's
mm,
like some challenges come. It's not like very easy. You understand, if you go and speak to them, they also will tell you that they have a fear that someone may come and some thief may come and burgle the house, or someone may come and try to harm them. Then there is no one to protect them. What will they do then that time? So in one way, in physical protection also, we need men to be around. Women are not always very strong in one way. Their bodies are little, inconsiderable to men. Their bodies are always little weak. But then you understand, they need like emotional support, they need physical support, they need mental support, and they need financial support. Everything is required, and they need spiritual support also. So it's very important that women are given all these protections by a man actually. So or else what will happen? By nature, women have the nature to seek shelter. So they want to seek shelter somewhere. So that's why Prabhupada was always told that they should be always be protected or surrounded with the men around. This is what I can tell you right now, because it's like very important that situations may arise in the lives of few individuals where they want to live independently, but it's not so very good. What will happen? Just imagine, 50 years you are very good, 65, 60 you get a chronic disease or something like that. Who is ready to take care? Then you have to just go to and live in the, what do you call this place where we live, you know uh,
mm.
old age home, or just have to live in hospice. Is that good enough, without having any protection? Just imagine, situation may change anytime actually, and we need support of devotees around, or especially the men around. So it's always required. Financially, one may try to be independent and see live, but what happens tomorrow if something happens and you have to spend all your money just on your health, or on someone's health, on your daughters, or some situation may come. Then what do you do? Where do you turn then? So it's always required. Men are there, then they keep working. At least they can go out and do some job and still get. So it's always important that we need support. We need support. And what Prabhupada is telling in the books, Srimad Bhagavatam and other things, it's very important. Or they should be support always given to the woman.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for explaining the weaknesses and
Mhm.
also the strength of women, how they can preach to the neighbors and family, and at the same time, they need protection because, as you said, they could be an object of enjoyment for the men. And I remember recently I'd heard about in India, there's this lady. I don't know the details, but she was a doctor, and she was actually coming or going home at 2 o'clock, and she was ruthlessly, I don't know what happened, uh, became an object of enjoyment for some men, and she died.
This keeps happening actually all around the world. If you see, the news
Yeah,
is
so
all
because
about this thing.
in that case,
So
suppose her husband or brother or somebody was there, he would have done something and protected her.
yes, that's why it's very important. Very
Yeah.
important.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your class, and it was a class which is based on, encouraging us in our spiritual life. That's what I felt today. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to express my views on the learnings from today.
Yeah.
I think I feel that what you are helping me as a devotee understand is the stance towards learning. And stance, which I mean is a cricket stance. How should I receive knowledge? What is my mental state of being should be while I'm receiving knowledge and gaining my consciousness, etc., and so on, which you very beautifully articulated. I think the way I would try to practice within my area of influence is that um, the learning path is what Mataji was earlier expressing, is a place where you go, you wake up early, etc., and you condition yourself, you bring yourself to that state of diya, a candle or light. And it is as flickery or as we all know how diya is, the real diya, not the electric diya. It can go off quickly. So if I have learned from you something today, how do I practice that part of learning the moment I step out of my comfort zone of a temple in my house to a living room where it is with the teenagers or into an office, which is a workplace? That morning via which was lit, it is always being challenged to be blown away by people around me or professionals around me. And this could happen in a very small learning step, the first learning step, or it could happen in the nth learning step, as you and Mataji were discussing earlier. I think how I am able to hold that, create a small step out of that via of today's learning, and how am I able to gain my confidence and then take a next challenge tomorrow and the next and the next. Because as you continue to say that the practice has to be multiplied every day, and that's how a small light of candle will grow into a big torch over a period of time. But beautiful. I think I really loved and enjoyed the way you articulated and the serenity that I need to maintain as a devotee. And as in when I am preaching to somebody in my own little small capacity, how similar degree of serenity that I need to maintain while I'm practicing that. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful understanding and very nice comments. Thank you. Hare Krishna. We'll just take one more comment or one more question and then we'll end, because I have to go and attend Bhagavatam class here. We already, Jayadit Maharaj started giving class. So anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances
Humble
of
obeisance.
Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderful association on the conference. Hare Krishna, it was very nice discussion, and the takeaway what I feel from this class is one, whether whichever lifestyle we are, like like brahmachari or grahastha or any other ashram we are, but and only one thing what I learned from today's class is, like, one has to, wherever you are, in whichever ashram you are, one has to definitely make sure that you do your sadhana as you explained, in any circumstance. Just keep doing your sadhana perfectly, and I think that that will definitely, uh, keep everyone on the proper path. But only one thing I would like you, if you can please explain, like, sadhana, exactly what is the meaning of sadhana, so that our devotees on the conference can, what I am referring to, because I got this question when I used to preach in Vrindavan. I almost did my full-time service for 6 years in Vrindavan, West Virginia. So there, I used to get these questions, Prabhu, can we just leave our job and come and, do service in the temple, or shall we, keep continuing our job? So, my answer is to be the same like what you said. Sadhana, if we don't do sadhana, whichever ashram we are, then we are like one will be wasting the life. But again, uh, you know, sadhana, how would you explain, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Thank
So generally, sadhana for a devotee, what everyone is expected to do under the instruction of Srila Prabhupada is that at least everyone get up early in the morning, especially during the Brahma Muhurta time, and chant their 16 rounds every day. See, Prabhupada has just requested that everyone should chant at least 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if they're able to do it in the morning time, that is the best thing. 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, or before, like the sunrise, before the sun is aroused or the day is beginning. Before that, if you chant, sit in one place and peacefully chant very nicely, just praying to Krishna for purifying your heart, making your relationship with Krishna very stronger. That is the best thing what you can do. Chanting 16 rounds is recommended in your sadhana. And then at least reading for 30 minutes. I tell at least 30 minutes, because if you start with 30 if you start for proper told 2 hours, but we can come to at least start with 30 minutes and go up to the standard of reading at least 1 hour or 2 hours, whatever best we can do. So reading 30 minutes of Srila Prabhupada books, 30 minutes to 1 hour of Srila Prabhupada books, and hearing Bhagvatam, hearing Bhagavad Gita class, that is like very nourishing to the soul. At least these three things, if we are ready to do, that is one way protection of our soul or nourishing our soul. And the fourth thing, what is recommended by Srila Prabhupada, is that one should worship the deities and do Mangal Arti. So, if you're ready, if you're getting up early in the morning, completing your rounds by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and doing a small Mangal Arti for 15 to 20 minutes, singing Samsara Dava prayers with Narsimha prayers and Tulsi Arti prayers, that is the best way to start your day off. And, worshipping the deities, that is the best thing. So, if you are ready to do this thing, that is the best sadhana what one can have. And as we were discussing also, this sadhana nourishes the soul, actually nourishes the connection with the Supreme Lord, and it gives us the protection. Like how Dhanval Prabhu was telling that it's like a small jyoti or lamp what we are lighting up, and then that light gives us the warmth as well as enlightenment in the heart. So that is what is required, actually, that we do our sadhana very strongly, and eventually when we keep doing it very steadily, day in and day out, then it becomes very, very easy for us to do, for us to become more Krishna conscious and to make our ambience or atmosphere around us very Krishna conscious. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yes. So
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanva Pranam. Thank you so much for this nectar class. And I know you're so busy with the Gaurang Prabhu and Maharaja's visit to New York, but still you gave time for us. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And hoping to see you soon again.
Yeah, I saw.
And I would also like to announce that Prabhuji is agreed to give alternate Sunday his class, his time to us. So we can say 3 times Hari Bol to Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
We are so fortunate to have your association, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hari Bol. Hari
In
Bol.
fact, you'd like Prabhuji to be every Sunday. Thank you, Prabhuji.
thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I know you are busy, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so let's pay obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpataru.
Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha.
कोटि वैष्णव की जय
Jai.
राज ठाकुर की जय
Jai.
जय प्रभात की जय
Jai.
भगवद गीता की जय
Jai.
Jai.
श्री गोपाल प्राण प्रभु की जय
Jai.
थैंक यू सो मच
Samved और भक्तवंत की जय.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.